Hello there. Welcome to my podcast. I've named it Hanging On by a Thread, aptly named so because that's how I feel most days, and especially now. But I'm going to get into that later on. I gave this podcast thing a go in 2018 actually, and had all intentions of making it a weekly thing, like I'm on a roll, let's get going. That of course did not happen. Many reasons for that. But mainly I just not the headspace, as I've heard many people are struggling with that at the moment. So now I figured 2021, 3 years after the first try, I will try this again. So yeah, hello and welcome, and thank you very much for checking out this episode, and I hope you will like it. I hope I have something to talk about because it's been in my brain for a really long time, but I haven't actually made notes or planned what to talk about. So let's see how this goes. Hopefully it won't be too chaotic. Okay. So yeah, I should probably introduce myself. My name is Silja. I am a knitter and, general fiber enthusiast, and I live in the middle of Norway. It's a tiny village outside of Trondheim, and love it here. It's new. I used to live in Barcelona in Spain for about 15 years. That's where I met my partner and had my first kid, and etc. etc. We decided to move to Norway back in 2018, and now we finally have our house, and it's by the fjord. I always said that if I were ever to live in Norway, I'm gonna see the sea. I'm gonna live by the fjord. I'm not living in an apartment, because for that I had the Mediterranean and that was fine. But here we're about 50 meters from the beach, which is okay. Out of the city, cheaper housing, all that good stuff, And yeah. Already on a tangent, but okay. I might as well just go with the flow, right? That's kind of what I like about podcasters, when they're just nattering on about the things they do every day and experience. And then of course we all end up talking about knitting stuff because that's what we obsess about, and most of us don't have anybody in our immediate social circle that gives a shit about it, really. I know I don't, and my circle is fairly small. There's a pandemic going on. Yeah. There's a rumor about there's a pandemic. It's been about a year now with that, and so year 1 of the pandemic, year 3 in Norway, year 2 in this house, or second winter, I should say. We should count things by winters in Norway. But it's not at all depressing right now. I'm looking out the window. There's sunshine on the houses on the other side of the fjord, because we're facing north, and our house will not get any sunshine until March, maybe? But that's okay. It's pretty to look at too, and I could leave the house and actually stand in some sunshine if I wanted to. Okay. Yes. That was my name. That was where I lived. I should also say that if you're so inclined, you could follow me on Instagram, I guess. That's where I post most things knitterly. Not very good at taking photos for it, but there you go. that was the idea of this podcast, so I wouldn't have to keep documenting all the time. But I have various projects in mind. My username on Instagram is Silmoa, which I think is the same on Ravelry, if you're using that. I know I use it mostly for just keeping track of my projects lately, and of course for patterns. Yeah. And that's it for social media. I will post show notes for whatever I think of talking about in this episode on the YouTube notes, which are usually down here. Unless you're watching it on TV, then they're not really accessible. You'll have to open your computer and get it. And I will also post them on my blog, which is also sadly abandoned. It had seen more actions these past 3 years than my YouTube channel, but still, it's there. It's biothreadblog.com, I think. I'll put it down here to make sure it's the right address. Yeah, everything I natural on about, any reference to patterns, yarns, and other podcasters, things, lovely things, I will post in the show notes. That's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, yeah, so let's get into the knitting content proper. So I thought, since there's been 3 years since I sat down and did this, my whips are not exactly where I left off. So I thought I should start with kind of a what I'm wearing kind of thing, because I have knitted quite a few garments for myself, and show off the finished stuff that has been finished. So here, actually, I don't remember the name of this. Let me find the pattern. It was... oh, it's from Pom Pom magazine. Abram's Bridge, I want to say it is. Yes, I think it's Abram's Bridge. Don't remember the designer's name. I will put that on screen as well. And yes, I started it, I want to say 2019 or spring of 2020. This was pandemic just hit us. First lockdown. It wasn't much of a lockdown here in the village because, you know, big house, my own yard. It's easy to keep away from people, so I could leave the house. Anyway, it was fairly depressing time. Yeah, so I cast on this because it's big, cozy cardigan, super warm. I have, it calls for worsted weight yarn, and I chose to do it in a bit more fuzzy version. I had this lovely dirty yellow in my stash for a couple of years, yeah, and I figured I finally should do something about it. It is Rauma Finull and Sandnes silk mohair held double. Not the thin one, this is the chunky silk mohair, so it's quite thick. And it's really toasty warm and I love it right now. Today it's about 5- outside and it's lovely and hot. But it is a little prickly. And I suspect it is the silk mohair that's not very silky. And I don't know why that is. But yeah, as you can see, it's gotten a lot of wear. All of my knits, well, not all of them, many of them gets this fluffy things on them. And I suppose that is the combo. I think this is mostly the silk mohair again coming off, along with the Finull, which is usually pretty durable, but I did not knit this very tight gauge, and it is kind of loosely plied, so I guess that has an effect. And I rub my elbows on the table and everywhere. Yeah, it is a full length. I always tend to roll them up to be a bracelet length. I don't know, it feels always too hot to have anything here. And it has this nice lace panel. It is knitted flat, which is absolutely no problem for lace knitting. I actually prefer that, because then in most cases, lace is just, you know, you do the lace repeat thing on the right side and then you can just knit the way back. So you don't have to worry about what's going on. So the purl row is kind of like a resting row, which is quite nice. I did do a couple of mistakes on the repeat, like they don't line up properly. I did some mistakes, so maybe I have one and then the same again here when I should have switched. But I think there's patterns, so you don't really see it. Anyways, not many people have seen this yet because, you know, don't leave my house. So there's that. Overall, very happy with it. I have seen it's not a very popular pattern like on Ravelry or on Instagram, which I don't get why. It is a thoroughly lovely knit, and it blocked out and bloomed beautifully the lace. And yeah, I recommend this. It was fairly quick. Knit flat, split for the arms, then you knit that panel and that panel on the back separately, you graft on top. And I'm gonna have to stop chatting, maybe. I've got the baby call on. I'm gonna have to see what's going on there. Okay, so no crises, he's back asleep. Yeah, good time as any as to mention my kids, right? I have two kids, one 4-year-old and one 4 months old, which is the one currently sleeping downstairs in his wagon. Sleeping in wagons outside usually is a very Norwegian thing to do, and yeah, I'm not so comfortable with the whole sleeping outside thing. I know a lot of people are, and I've seen babies sleep outside of cafes, and they're very snug and cozy there. I can't bring myself to have the kid parked outside while I'm inside, so I have him in the wagon downstairs because that is very easy to get him to sleep. You rock him back and forth. Yeah, he's very cozy there. He usually naps for about 3 to 4 hours, so I'm hoping I will actually manage to do a complete podcast. My partner's out of the house, oldest kid is in the kindergarten. Now is the time, I figured. So that's it. Yes, I have finished talking about this number, and let's get into the whips, I guess. There are quite a few. Well, depends what you count as whips. So let's call them active whips, because I have a few that are hibernating. I have currently 1, 2, 3. Not sure if that was active. Let's say we have 3 active whips. There's 1/4 one that's like nearly done. I have to do sleeve and then colourwork yoke, but that one is just hanging back a little bit because I want to finish the large men's garment first, which is this thing. Whoa, so huge. I'm worried I might have my gauge too tight and it's not gonna fit the man it's supposed to fit. So this is for my partner, and he is constantly complaining about the cold. So I figure, why not knitting something nice and cozy warm? All over colourwork sweater, Scandinavian style, you know, 2 colours, roses, stripes. This is from a booklet of Sandnes Garn, which is called Norwegian Icons. It's the men's version of this one. You can see right here on the cover here. And yeah, so this is Lillemors Herregenser. So obviously they have to specify it's for a men's sweater because Lillemor is little mother. Yeah, and I was quite surprised when I got this pattern, because I was like, oh, just browsing Sandnes Garn's website, and he got to choose his own sweater, or rather I'd say, isn't this sweater pretty? Do you like it? And he goes, yes, I think it's very pretty. And I go, yeah, good, because I'm knitting it for you. Because, you know, he's cold and I needed a easy knit. All over DK colourwork sweater for me, only with 2 colours, is an easy knit. It's straightforward. I don't really have to think about it. Once you've done 1 stripe, you know the pattern and it just repeats. It is not at all complicated. Or fairly easy to get your head around. So memorize it when your head is in a good spot, and then you won't have to think about it later, basically. Yeah, I was surprised to see that this pattern is actually written top down, which in a Norwegian commercial booklet is not very typical. So I guess they are keeping up with the times, as you'd say. Yeah, so yeah, my tension is a little bit off, as it usually is, but I thought it's not that bad. I think I ended up with like 21 stitches per 10 centimeters on the size 4 needle, which is what's called a 4. I might have been a little tense knitting this up because it's slightly puckered, but I'm hoping it will come out on the block, because I have used Sandnes Garn Smart, which is a super wash, and that tends to stretch a bit more. I chose super wash for this because my partner's a intense user. Not sure how to phrase that, but you know, he wears his clothes, so he's definitely a worthy recipient of something handmade, because once he likes something, he wears it till it's in tatters. And that's not even, that's him taking care. So it's not like he's intentionally trying to wreck clothes, or is, I don't know, it just, there's just holes on all the knees of every pair of jeans he owns, as I'm saying. But yeah, I went with like a blue-grey, I think it's just called blue-grey color for Sandnes Smart. It's gonna be tucked down, the color, and it's stretchy enough to go over said man's head. It's worked top down. It even has a bit of short rows. Were they included or did I add them? Let me see. Yes. The pattern actually adds in German short rows. So when I looked at this pattern and figured I should knit that, this is done in Peer Gynt, which is their non-superwash DK weight, but I then went with Smart in basically the same colors. I figured I would have to, okay, I'll knit this and I will try to do it with some short rows to raise the neck and making my mental preparations to make adjustments to, you know, this sort of booklet pattern. And I was so happy to find that it was already done. So, yay! I just had to cast on and start knitting, which is always nice. I am at where I have completed all my repeats here, and I'm just about to change the needle and start with nice wide ribbing there, and then of course do the arms, which I hope I have enough yarn for, because really I do not need to buy any more yarn. What you see here is it's a selection, let's say. There are giant plastic tubs downstairs in one of the storage rooms, because I have a house now, there's storage rooms. Yeah, but these are kind of like the recent acquisitions, the pretty ones, let's say. It's all the hand-dyed and lovely things. And I also like to have a bit of a selection of colourwork stuff on hand. So here we got my phenol tub. I have some base colours and some accent colours. There's also a pile on the dining table over there. And up here, these I think are lammel. All of them are lamb's wool. They're the Roma lamb's wool, or so they're all 100% wool. Colourwork, Norwegian wool. Phenol is about a sports weight, and then there's a light fingering weight up there. So that, and the stack of finished but not quite finished knitting. So here we have, yeah, there is, oh, this is a whip. That's definitely hibernating. This is gonna get some love after this, I think. Definitely. But yeah, needs sleeves, needs buttons, needs blocking, needs buttons, and finishing up some raw edges from cutting up the cardi and things. Anyway, total tangent. At least it was about knitting, right? So what did I say about this? Was I done talking about this? I think I was. Do you want to know the colors? So blue-gray, and it is Sandnes Garn Smart Superwash. This is the colorway. Blue-gray is 6072. It's quite a nice blue. And the contrasting color is 1032. Sexy name. Which is, you know, it's this is heathered. I'd say heathered. Grey, light grey. Heathered light grey. So these two lovelies together. Yep. And it's actually, it's quite affordable if we're going to talk prices, because again, when I'm not knitting for myself, I don't go for the fanciest yarns. Not always, well, depending on who you're giving it to, right? You know how it's going to be used. So this is hard wearing, superwash wool, fairly reasonably priced. I think a men's sweater here is about 500 kroners, which, you know, check out on xe.com, whatever currency you would like to know the price in. These are bought in Norway though, so no idea. It's fairly popular in Germany, and I've seen. Anyways, that's that. So if I manage to get my groove on and keep up this podcasting business, you might be looking at a finished one in a couple of weeks' time. A week? I don't know. Let's see what fancy takes me, because I am trying to complete the things I start. Or I was watching the new to me podcast, Crimson Stitchery, lovely woman in London knitting, and where was I going with this? Yeah, I think it was the episode she was talking about gift knitting, and to make sure that whoever you're knitting for is worth it, which partner totally is. And about being able to finish the things you start. Oh, going with the you know, when you find something new that you, oh, I want to knit that, and you buy the yarn for it, you should immediately cast on, because otherwise it's going to stand there lingering. And I have piles of wool, that's testament to that. And by the time I have finished whatever else I was knitting and have the time to, like, when you find yourself with nothing on the needles, which is never, but you know, nothing you want to knit on the needles, and you're like, oh, I can actually cast something new on. That's a really uncomfortable feeling. You have to make a choice, you have to make a commitment. And if you didn't use that, oh, I want to knit that feeling, and directly do it, you're going to be like me, and you're like, oh no, and just being so, I'm dreading that. I'm like choosing the wrong thing to knit, which is crazy, because halfway through it you hate it. No, so you know, if you buy the yarn for something specific, just cast on immediately. Don't save it, because you're going to end up like me and having kilos of yarn with a project in mind, but you're not feeling it anymore because you let a year pass, 6 months, 2 years. I think I have yarn in my stash that has a project assigned to it. That's like 7 years. I need to get rid of this yarn. It's lovely yarn, but I don't want to knit with it anymore. So that's quite terrible, isn't it? Yeah. Camera's struggling a little bit to figure out if I am landscape or a person. Or a person with, it could be the light coming in from here. That's confusing it, but as long as it keeps tracking my face, that's okay. So yeah, I am, you know, January, New Year, trying to find motivations for surviving however long this lockdown is. I am home with, if I was working, I would be having a home office. So when the pandemic started, a couple of weeks went by and we were all sent off and had to go working from home. Meanwhile, I was pregnant and getting more and more pregnant. In September, I had my kid, number 2. And I've been on maternity leave since then. And so I was gonna be kind of cloistered in my house for the better part of a year. Anyways, what I hadn't expected was to have 6 months prior to that already. So And then, you know, in the first month, 2 months with baby, that there's a bubble and you're just kind of just like hazy with hormones, really. It's just get, yeah, boob, poop, everything, everywhere. And that was fine. Now it's a little bit more, it would be nice to go for a stroll with somebody, you know, take the wagon out and have a chat with somebody who's not of my household. Yeah, there was a stroke of luck and a downside at the same time, moving countries when we did. So we were really lucky to have moved already and into our own home by the time, hello pandemic, because I would have hated to be locked into an apartment in Barcelona, which has been basically on constant lockdown. Like, people weren't allowed into the streets. They were not allowed to go out and take their kids out. They were allowed to walk their dogs, but you were not allowed to take your 4-year-old down to the park and play, which is a bit crazy. But yeah, that would have been terrible. And here though, even if we have a lot more freedom of movement and you're not cooped up in the same way, I have very few, well, I know, I'm from here, so I know a lot of people, but I don't have many friends to hang out with. And even if I did, I couldn't. So I don't know what my point was. Anyway, pandemic sucks. Let's hope everybody gets vaccinated soon. And that we can start being social again, because frankly, last year was supposed to be I'm going to be social and participate in events and get friends in this new place I'm now living and plan on living the rest of my life, or raising my kids at least. So yeah. 2020, kick in the pants. Yep. Okay, next thing. So I was talking about stash, right? So let's talk about stash. I have done my best to try to reduce the amount of stuff. So I thought, well, things held double. It's going to eat up a lot of yarn. And it did. This is a baby sweater. It's a cardigan for the 4-month-old, because he decided to grow out of everything. And I had some Rauma lamb's wool. I like knitting that. I held double. This is Anker's cardigan, I think, from Petite Knit. I just wanted to knit something really quick, because it was basically a matter of, oh shit, he grew out of his clothes. He needs another cardigan. And I'm a knitter. I refuse to buy a knitted cardigan in a shop. No, not gonna happen. So I had to cast on and really quickly knit this on. But you see, it's pretty cute. This is not an intentional color blocking situation. So basically you can see I knit the body, I knit this arm, and I had 1 round to go to cast off, and I ran out of yarn. And I could not find anything similar, and I'd be damned to buy another ball just to finish off a baby garment and be sat there with half a ball of yarn. That'd be scraps again. So I cast on double with some leftover blue I had, and I got thus far. I managed that bit. And this sleeve. Just about. And then I had no more blue yarn for the button bands. Nope. So I took another ball, held double, figured grey would be a nice neutral. I think it turned out quite cute. I found sort of matching blue buttons in my button stash. And I just fastened that this morning. It's been washed. So I figured I'll show this. Because, I mean, this is a kid's knit. They're not fussy. It's a baby. It'll look cute on him. Very easy pattern. Yeah, all the fun is in the yoke, really, and then it's just basic decreases, kind of stuff. Baby knit, DK, which is, it feels so super quick because I have a tendency to cast on light fingering weight all over colourwork. That just takes forever, and 2mm needles, you know, so 4mm is like, whoa, this is so fast. Okay, that's that. And then, oh, too hot. Too hot. And then, this happened. I don't know if you can see this guy. Yeah, Amigurumi. Yep. So, crochet came back full because I've been watching Little Drops of Wonderful podcast, and she just makes me laugh. I thoroughly enjoy that, and it's more, well, I don't know, mostly crochet, I find. And she did recently one on all of her Amigurumi creatures, and I thought, I want to do that. I've got kids now. I have an excuse to make little animals. So I bought a couple of books. I can show them here. And I managed to order these. So this is Dinosaurs, Mammoths and More, Prehistoric Amigurumi. And this is what my baby or my boy chose. It's completely, what even is that? Where did he go? Where did you go, Theo? So yeah, this is Theo T-Rex. Yeah, so here I think I'm gonna have a chill day, and all of a sudden phone calls, baby, where? And baby should be good for another 40 minutes, and I should be able to do this in 40 minutes. I am surprisingly chatty. I'm surprisingly chatty today. Amigurumi, that's what I was talking about. Yes, thoroughly inspired by the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. I bought these, so I bought both books, right? And Theo the T-Rex is from Dinosaurs, Mammoths and More, Prehistoric Amigurumi. And yeah, it's the first crochet creature I've done. There is definitely room for improvement, but I think it's quite cute. His head, you start with the head. So on the head, the stitches are sloppy. And he's kind of understuffed. I feel like he's squishy, he's good to cuddle with. And then you move on to like the mouth, the teeth, and the eyes and the eyelids, and then the body, which is then overstuffed because of course the stitch is a bit tight, and even so you can see the stuffing because I overstuffed it, compensating for the squishiness on the top. I was like, no, I want him to be sturdy. And then after the body, you put on the tail, which I think is where it was okay. Now you can't see any stuffing peeking out. No stuffing peeking out there. And I think the seaming was quite okay. So I'd seamed this on, the body onto the head, whatever way. It did not look good. It's like you could see like the line. It didn't look seamless. It's like it didn't look smooth. I wanted it to look smooth. And then on the tail, I managed to sew the tail onto the body so that it looked more like a smooth transition there. So of course I had to unpick that and redo it because I couldn't look at it like that. And yeah, the most fiddly bit I think was the toes. That hurt my hand, and not having crocheted in such a long time, I was like little hooks like that, and well, but very pleased to finish this. I had to do it in green, light green and white, because has to be like the drawing or as the photo. Yep. And I don't know if you can see, but there's all little bits. Oh, come on, focus here. There's little bits of like, I think it's wood there. And I suspect that is from my dad's workshop. Emil's grandfather's workshop. So probably some wood chips and things. Joins him to build things there. So, yay! Very pleased that he can walk. He's got strong dino legs. Look at him. A proud Tyrannosaurus Rex, this one. So yeah, I got hooked, of course, into the Amigurumi world. And what was I saying before about, oh, I'm not going to grow my stash. I have plenty of yarn. I'm not going to get anything. But I don't have any cotton. So this is nicer in cotton. This one is made in, I think it's Hobby yarn, hobby.no. I think it's a Danish company. So it's a very plain cotton. It was very cheap. But yeah, it's not mercerized. I want to say mercerized. But it's very like, it's loose. It's not shiny. So I got the shiny kind. Let's call it the shiny kind for making Albert, the longest squama. So this one, making this one for the baby, because I thought he likes putting everything in his mouth now, and lots of little spikes and things. It's gonna be lovely. So Amigurumi basket, and as you can see, this yarn is so much shinier, and this is as far as I am now. It's not overstuffing this. So I've got my head. It's gonna come on there. I've got my, oh my god, the eyes. Got some eyes. They're gonna come on there. Little eyelids, chunky. I just need to make the feet, which if I thought that the claws on this one were fiddly, then these are the feet, or the beginning of the feet. So I need to make 4 feet, obviously, and every foot has 4 toes, and you start off by making the toes. So I've got 3. I'm gonna make the 4th toe here, and then make the little foot. This is fiddly, and this is kind of where I've left it off now, because fiddly. Yeah. So I might seam the parts I have already together to get like kind of a motivation going to see, oh, look at how cute he's becoming. Let me let me finish it now. It'll be so cute. Take some photos. Huh? With a little eye. I put a little shine in it. Let's see if that's cute. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, I am really digging this this mercerized cotton though. Am I saying that correctly? Mercerized. Pretty sure that's what it says. Mercerized cotton. So I'm using Shipias. Katona. It's very shiny. Sturdy. It's like a sport weight. I'd say this is a sport weight or a heavy fingering, depending on what you want to call it. And they've got such lovely shiny colors. I have the colors for this and a bit more. Yes. There will be more amigurumi after this. So this is my mess of a work basket. This basket is like, ends up being my very much a work in progress basket. It's the one I guess like swapped out with. I don't have so many project bags or anything. I like baskets. And I usually keep my ongoing project in this here basket, which I have stolen from my mother at some point, and it must be at least 40 years old. It's a bit grubby. I love it. That's that. And yeah, there's so many cute ones. After this one, I think the boy has ordered, which one was it? That saber-tooth. Oscar, the saber-tooth tiger. Because he has a tiger that needs a friend. So let's see that one. But I also have this book, Unicorns, Dragons and More. So, and this one has a dinocorn. Yes, it's a dinosaur unicorn, which I think I must make for me, or for, I'm just gonna make creatures and have a stockpile of them, because I have friends with kids now, and I have kids, and these are really great gifts. Super cute. Who can resist them? Yeah. Amigurumi, hooked. And since I got hooked on crochet, I finally decided to attack a bit of my wool stash, because I been wanting to make myself a sweater, a pullover with like crochet granny squares here and stockinette stitch sleeves and just simple finishing. So I got cracking on that. I have chosen it's mostly finer, but any kind of sort of fingering to sport weight wool I'm using. I have quite a lot of this neutral grey. It's got a bit of brown in it, so it's a bit like a yeah, it's a teeny bit beige grey base color. And I'm just gonna grab 70s is strong in these squares, but I have lots of lovely leftover colors, and it's just gonna be a mashup of similar. I want them all to be very much similar in tone, but I want every square to be different. So I am working on matching up my squares, and I think I'm gonna need, so if I want 3 across here, right? 3 and 3 down, or maybe 4 rows down. So 3 in front, 4 down, and I'm gonna need some for this side, and same for the back. Right, so we'll see how I end up constructing this. Yeah, let's see. This is there's no pattern here. I'm just kind of going with the flow and figuring that if I can make a square, 2 squares together, stick sleeves on the sides, maybe do something clever on the here and add some height to the back, and then do a nice neckline and just a simple ribbed hem at the bottom. Maybe not a ribbed hem for crochet. What do you think? We'll see. And if after making 20 plus squares I'm not feeling it anymore, it can become a blanket. So never hurts to make granny squares. Look at this one. This is, I really like how this is turning out. Come on, focus on the square. There you go. Yeah. And this one I washed and blocked because this was my swatch. And I think that's going to be really cute. And it's definitely not, it's going to be see-through, and it's wool, so it's going to be, I wanted it to be light and airy. It's definitely light. And I didn't want the granny square to be like, I wanted it to have a lot of air, because I tend to run hot, even in cold country like this. And crochets create such a thick fabric, so I needed to have some air holes, basically. And that, so I'm really excited to see where this is going. This is where my current mojo is at. That and the amigurumi. And I just want to finish the sweater for Rod, my partner, because it is so close to being finished, and I want him to use it before, you know, the warm comes back, which, you know, gives me a couple of months, really, to be fair. It's only January. Okay, that's that. I didn't plan on speaking about much more. I could go on. I have so many projects finished, and yarns and things. I could mention the latest, the last. Let's hope it's the last stash acquisition, if you may, which was one of my favorite hand dyers, Norwegian based. This is gonna be so cute. I have plans on making this scrappy. I'll hold it double with a black yarn and just make myself a basic, colourful, but neutral raglan sweater. So yeah, that's it for me. This is Rauma lambswool tied by Verbit, which is, there you go, Verbit. And just look at these lovely colours. Ah, it's gonna be gorgeous. I think this will be my next cast on. As I said, don't let the mojo drift away and you're stuck with, oh, I got nothing to knit, nothing I want to knit, and that's just bad, because we all have so much. Well, not everybody. Some people are sensible, but I am not. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Hopefully I've chatted on for a good amount of time. That will become an episode for knitting podcasts. So yeah, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. Actually, it feels good to be talking, even if it's to a camera. It feels good to be talking about the things that excite me every day, the things that make me want to get up in the morning. And okay, I have things to do besides feeding my family and wiping shit off a baby's ass. So this fibery goodness is a real lifesaver, and yeah, I know a lot of people feel like that. So I just want to have my say, as it were, and show my appreciation for the crafting and for the wool and for the colours. There's so many bright and lovely colours. So yeah, hopefully I will make this a habit, and I'll see you next time. Bye.